Hello, this is Dennis Ebenezer. In this video, I will be explaining about web interface design. This is the first part where I will be explaining about drag and drop. First, we will see what is web interface. A web interface is a space provided by the company or any other web related provider so as to contact with the user and use his service so that the user will be benefited. The services of the web may be online shopping, gaming or social media website, video blogging or tutorials or any kind. There is a lot of difference between developing a web and a web interface. When designing a web interface, there are certain points that are need to be noted. There are different developers who might develop their interface with their own creativity, but each one should follow a common guideline so that it will be easy for the user to follow the web interface and they can use the web interface easily. Studying about the web interface design will help the developer in understanding what is required by the user and how the user will be easy to use the web interface. There are several needs for web interface design. Some of them are as follows. First one, a web is successful only when the interface is loved by the user. Next, the common guideline for the developers will give a standard output of all the websites, which will be very much easy for the users when using multiple websites. In developers point of view, when a common guideline is used for multiple websites, they will find it easy to develop multiple websites on a same architecture. When the interface is developed properly, that will give a rich experience for the user when using their websites. Also, it will provide interaction and participation so as allowing the user to use the website frequently and with more ease of knowledge. Let us now see about design principles. The references for this topic is taken from the book Designing Web Interfaces by Bill Scott and Theresa Nell, which is the prescribed textbook in the unannounced syllabus. As per the book, there are 6 design principles listed, but as per syllabus, we have only first 3 principles that we need to study. The first 3 principles are given to the developer for a basic guideline for designing a web interface. The first principle is make it direct, which means the developers are advised to give the instructions or the details right away to the user when using the system. The second point is keep it lightweight, which means the developer are advised not to include unwanted items on the home page so as making it simple and easy to use. The third one is stay on the page, which is nothing but when a user logs into the home page, he must find all that he needs in the home page. He has to wait till everything is finished in the home page and then he has to move to the next page. These are the 3 principles that we are going to study in detail. In the first principle, make it direct, we have 3 points to remember. One is in-page editing, the next one is drag and drop, and the last one is direct selection. Among these 3 points, our syllabus concentration is on second point and third point, which is drag and drop and direct selection. Drag and drop is the easiest interface that we can use in the web. As we all know, we use mail and photo updations, everything using a drag and drop option. This drag and drop option was first introduced by Macintosh systems in the year 1984 when the first GUI, that is graphical user interface, came into existence. It is an easy way to move, copy, delete files on the user's desktop. The same thing that is used in the desktop was now implemented in the web page also. Here in this slide, what we see is an example of the drag and drop option, which is highlighted in yellow color. This is a sample. We have many more types of drag and drop which we'll be seeing in the continuing slides. When drag and drop is used, normally we'll be having 9 simple questions that need to be answered when we use a drag. They are: first, we need to know whether a particular object is draggable or not. Then we should know what is the object that can be dragged. The next one is whether the dragged object drops into a valid place or not. The next one is whether the visual content of the page supports dragging and dropping. And after that, when you drag an object, how much validity it will be having during the dragging. Next one, are you dragging the original object or a thumbnail or a copy, or how a draggable object can be dragged from one place to another place without changing the visual effects. When try to answer these questions, we design a dragging and drop option in a page in an effective manner so that the drag and drop performs well in the page. For performing a perfect drag and drop, there is a combination of event and actors. Events are the points in which the drag and drop will be activated, and there are 15 events that will enable a drag, and we have 6 actors which will be enabled when a drag is used. These actors are nothing but the object, place, the user, or the draggable object, or the information that is provided during the drag. All these things constitute the act. Combining this actors and events, we will be having a grid. A grid is a combination of 90 possibilities combining this 15 events and 6 actors. A grid is used in such a way to map all the events and actors and making sure nothing is left behind. Here we can see a sample of the Yahoo event page and actor mapping page. This is a simple grid that is developed by Yahoo and that is given for checking. There are different purposes for different drag and drop options available. They are as follows. The first one is drag and drop module. Here in this method, it rearranges the modules that is available in the page. Next one is drag and drop list. It actually rearranges the list of contents in a form that has been provided to enter data for the user. Next one is drag and drop object. It is rearranging the object's position from left to right, top to bottom, corner to middle, or middle to corner. Next one is the actual drag and drop action. It is nothing but invoking an object and dropping an object into its original place where it has to be placed. And the last one is drag and drop collection. It is nothing but the group of things that are that can be dragged and dropped in a single place. They are grouped as collections. When studying about the drag and drop, we have 4 parts where the drag and drop will actually work. The first one is normal style display, the second one is invitation to drag, and the third one is actual dragging, and the fourth one is invitation to drop. Whatever drag and drop method we consider, these 4 points will have to be kept in memory so that the drag and drop performs well by the user. This is for the developer's concern, not for the user's concern. When using the drag and drop approach, there are two common approaches in targeting the drop. The first one is placeholder target, another one is insertion target. Both the methods gives the same result, but the process of dropping an object in its place differs in both the methods. In first, the target placeholder target method. Here, the holds saves as the placeholder for the object that is to be dropped. A boundary will be seen when an object is being dragged from its place, and in the place of placeholder, what happens? A boundary, new boundary where the object can be fitted will be seen as seen in the figure. This method follows the midpoint boundary method so that when the new object is dropped in a place, the old object moves in such a way leaving a space for the incoming dragged object. Here in the example we can clearly see when one is being moved, dragged from its original place to the target place, 4 automatically shifts is placed from the original place to the downward direction, and automatically when the space is empty by taking out 1, number 2 is filling its place. This is called midpoint boundary algorithm. The second method is the insertion target method. In this method, the boundary will not be visible, but a gray box, outline box, will be visible when dragging the object, and it will be ending in the place where it has to be actually dropped. By using this method, we can maintain this stability of the page. When using this method, the dragged object will be transparent when moving until the point when it is being dropped. This property is called ghosting. There are 2 points that we need to be in concern when using drag and drop. They are drag distance and drag rendering. When dragging an object, make sure that the distance is not too long and the rendering doesn't change when you drag the object. By frequently using drag and drop of different options, we have 4 best approaches which we can combine to give a better drag and drop experience. The first one is placeholder targeting. In this, the preview is given clear when dragging. The next one is midpoint boundary algorithm, in which the drag effort is minimized so that the other modules near the dragging object or the dropping object moves itself around the space available. The next one is full sized module dragging, in which the drag distance can be minimized by increasing the size of the dragging object. By maximizing the size of the dragging object, the distance can be minimized. The last one is ghost rendering, in which the dragged object has a clear preview of what is been dragged and where it have to be dropped. Now we can see the types of drag and drop options that can be placed in a web page. There are 4 items that can be used in drag and drop. They are drag and drop list, drag and drop object, drag and drop action, and drag and drop collection. The first one is the drag and drop list. Here, the list of data that are available in a form can be dragged and rearranged. It is very much similar to the rearranging of modules. This is used when the list have to be rearranged in a proper order before it is getting given to the user. As already stated, it also has the four status of normal display state, invitation to drag, dragging and dropping. All the four states of a drag and drop list are explained in the example as shown in the slide. In the given example, all the options such as laundry, dishes, sweep, pay bill, paint kitchen, organize clothes all have an option to drag and drop, but the user can rearrange. Here in our example, the laundry is being rearranged after the dishes as shown in the figure. While we are using drag and drop list option, we need to have four considerations. The first one is the placeholder target. While rearranging the list, the placeholder has to be visible to drop the object. Second one is the insertion target, that is you have to place properly the object that has been dragged. The third one is alternative of non-draggable object, that is if there is no draggable object, that must be fixed in its original place and cannot be moved. And the last one is drag lens. Drag lens is the process in which the pointer highlights the draggable object so that it doesn't miss out in the crowd. The next method is drag and drop object. This method is used to change the relationship between objects. This can be used when we deal with hierarchical change and relationship management. As we can see in the example, this also has four stages. First one is normal display state, second one is invitation to drag, third one is dragging, and the fourth one is drop. In this, the invitation drag stage is given to only certain objects which are enabled for dragging. All other objects which cannot be dragged will not have the invitation to drag. Similarly, when you want to drop the dragged object, the place where it needs to be dropped will also be highlighted. Unless it is highlighted, that object cannot be dropped in the particular place. So after dropping the object, the final relationship will be as displayed in the example. Here we have four considerations that have to be made. First one is highlighting of the object that is selected for dragging. Second one is dragging object versus drop target. We cannot drop a object in which the object cannot perfectly fit in. The third one is drag position. The drag position should be maintained in such a way it has the hierarchy of movement. The last one is the drag start. When you start the drag, it must be enabled to drag. The third one is the drop and drag action, where an action can be invoked by using a drop and drop. The most common example of a drag and drop action is deleting a file, directly placing that into the recycle bin, or placing or segregating photos in a folder into different folders. As we can see in the example, it also has the four state like normal display state, invitation to drag, drop and complete. The difference from the other method is that here when you drag and drop an item, it actually what happens, it has been added into a new folder or into a new place, and the processing is very much visible. After adding a object into the file or the folder, the finalized dropped data is provided as the set of data objects that is available inside the folder or the file. Here we have two main considerations while we talk about drag and drop actions. The first one is anti-patterns, that is artificial visual construct. This is done when we are involved in rating a particular movie. Here, when rating a movie, we give star value, or we place the image of the movie in the rating bucket that is available. Here, actually, the original image is not moved, but as an action of placing the movie inside the bucket will give you the rating star. The second consideration is a natural visual construct which we can experience during a Google Map scenario. Here, when we point the source and the destination, a route will be displayed that is available from the server. But as we travel, or when we choose a new route, a new line will be drawn from our source to destination, which is not a permanent link but a temporary link. This is called a natural visual construct. The last step of drag and drop is drag and drop collection. This drag and drop collection is used in websites that are involved in online purchasing, bookmarking of web pages, and saving data in temporary area. A common example of this type of drag and drop is seen in the slide as shown. Here it is explained about dragging drop in a shopping cart of an online book purchase website. The books are browsed and the required book is chosen, and that is drag and dropped into the shopping cart area until the user pays the money and get it for deliverables. The item in the shopping cart will be there without any change. Once when the payment is done, the collected object that resides in the shopping cart will be automatically deleted. Similarly, the same case will be applicable for wishlist also, but in wishlist the data or the collection object will not be deleted unless the user deliberately deletes it. When designing for drag and drop collection, there are two considerations that has to be made. One is discoverability, that is, when you have added data into a separate space, it should be available until it has been deleted. This is called discoverability. The second one is teachable mode. This is nothing but providing alternate way of giving inputs, that is toggling in the keyboard or keyboard shortcuts or any other methods other than drag and drop. After considering all the drag and drop methods, we arrive at a common point for the best practices of drag and drop. They are as follows. First one, keep the page jitter to a minimum while dragging the object. Second one, initiate dragging if the user only when he presses the mouse. The third one is provide drag and drop as a direct action for the direct mechanism, leaving behind unwanted actions. The next one is always have a tooltip or a hint message when there is a draggable object available. The fifth one is pay attention for all the interesting moments during drag and drop. The interesting moments are nothing but the set of all points that we have seen while starting about drag and drop. The last one is using invitation so that it will be queued and it will be waiting for the dragging to happen. Here in this slide we have the set of all part A questions that can be asked in this part 1 of unit 5.